What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we have got to talk about the secret rares they've just revealed for One Piece. We've got a new manga rare, and that was not a given. We didn't know if that was going to be the case or not. Turns out it totally is. And those wanted poster promos that we heard rumors of that we thought were real, but we didn't know anything about, well, we've seen them as well, ladies and gentlemen, and they are looking pretty gosh darned awesome. But let's start off having a look at the new manga rare. Now, obviously, we had manga rares in the first two sets. We had Manga Shanks in Romance Dawn, and then there's Manga Ace in Paramount War, and we kind of expected there to be a manga rare, because the general rule is, right, if they do it just for one set, there's no guarantee. But if they go and do it for multiple sets, you know, basically it's, as soon as you get two sets, then at that stage you're like, oh, okay, this kind of seems a little bit legit. This seems like something we're going to have. But then they went and told us about the wanted posters, and again, we'll get to more of those in a minute. And then all of a sudden, we're like, well, hang on a second. Are they replacing the manga rares? Are they still doing the manga rares? Yes. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, yes, they are doing the manga rares. And this is a wonderful, 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 wonderful piece of news. And I, for one, am frankly absolutely delighted. So we do have a new manga rare. And this is just good. Honestly, this is just a good thing and something we should be very, very happy about. It is one of the secret rares. It is Soja King here. Now, this character is also called Usopp. It's a 7-cost, 6,000 power blue character, counter plus 1,000. On play, return a character that costs 6 or less to your owner's hand, and then draw 2, trash 2. Pretty good in the Nami deck I'm getting very, very excited about lately. So this is all fairly standard. This is exactly the kind of thing we would expect. This is good. But that doesn't mean we're not excited about it. Just because it's something we kind of expected, just because it's something we saw coming, doesn't mean it's not something we can't get very, very excited about. And I, for one, yeah, I am pretty excited about this. Do I like it as much as the other manga rares? No. No, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't. I don't think it's good as the other manga rares, but I also don't think that necessarily matters. It's not really the point. The point is, we're getting another manga rare, and that's lovely, and people are very happy about this, and that's awesome. But what about these wanted poster rares? We saw about these, which is actually the English listing. We saw a listing over at distributors for this set, and we saw that we were getting these wanted poster rares. And that basically led to a whole bunch of questions, pretty much all of which revolved around, hang on a second, what are they? What are they going to look like? Which cards are they going to pick? Why are they doing this? Is this instead of the manga rares or in addition to the manga rares? And we didn't know. Now, the one question we do still need answers to, and this is a very important question, we do still need to know what the deal is in terms of pull rates. But now we at least know what the cards are. We know what's coming. And I, for one, am absolutely delighted. And you might have already spotted it, ladies and gentlemen. You might have already figured it out. These are very good, very playable cards. They're actually the same characters as the starter decks were themed around, although they're not necessarily all starter deck cards. So if we go one by one, we start off, we've got Luffy. It is starter deck Luffy, and it is the ridiculous starter deck Luffy that's got Rush, but it's also got that wonderful skill whereby Don X2 and you can't be blocked. And we saw this, you know, I just literally commentated the UK Treasure Cup this past weekend, and we saw how good this Luffy was. Having Rush is great, but being able to get around being blocked is also absolutely great. This is wonderful, and this is something we should all be pretty gosh darned excited about. Plus, let's not forget that this was a super rare in the starter deck. And it's not that easy to get hold of the red starter deck all the time. So this gives you another way to get hold of this card. And we don't know what the pull rates are. And I'm sure the pull rates are going to be very low. So there's no guarantee it's going to be easy to get or anything along those lines. But it's still a reprint from the starter deck. And this is pretty gosh darn cool. Now, one that is not a reprint from the starter deck, and it is actually, of the 4 cards, the only one that is not a reprint from the starter deck. This is the 8-cost Kid. Now, I did a Kid mirror match. I did a couple of Kid mirror matches over the weekend at the Treasure Cup over in Birmingham. And, yeah, 8-cost Kid is a great card to play. It's not always a great card to cast, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Because what it's got is a rather ludicrous skill where Don X1 on your opponent's turn, if this card is rested, the only viable target is Captain Eustace Kidd, this character. They can't go after your leader, even if it's Kidd. They can't go after other characters. They can only go after the character Eustace Captain Kidd. And that's a bit of a problem, ladies and gentlemen. It slows the game right down, and a lot of the time your goal here is basically to have this Kid as the only viable target, have some cards to counter and a couple of blockers to keep this alive, and then basically you just start, you got to attack with this to rest it. It's an 8,000, which is quite a lot. And then, you poke with your leader as well and any other cards you can get out, and you just sit there throwing tentative pokes out, some of which will go, some of which won't. But you sit there protecting this with blockers and counter, really frustrating your opponent for doing very much at all, taking a bit of life, and grinding out games. It's not the most fun card to play against. It's not the most fun card to cast, but it is a very, very good card. Now, going back to Starter Decks, we've got the Don Quixote do Flamingo, which is the character card from Starter Deck 3. And one thing I think we can say about this, they've picked good cards. Like, looking at the weekend, both the cards I've shown you were basically staples in a bunch of decks. This is a staple in the Don Quixote do Flamingo blue deck. Now, there is a fair point to say that deck is kind of going away in OPO2, but this is still a decent card. 7 cost, 7,000 power, on play, return a character of a cost of 7 or less to its owner's hand. A lot of the time, this is used as a removal against your opponent. You're getting rid of one of their cards, which is going to be annoying. You're getting rid of one of their cards, which is either a big blocker or a big attacking threat or something along those lines. Can't get everything. It's only a 7 cost, but it's still a very, very good card that sees a whole bunch of play. And then we've got the 9 cost Kaido. Not the 10 cost Kaido from Romance Dawn. The 9 cost Kaido that is again from the starter deck. And like I said a minute ago, reprinting starter deck cards is awesome, because bearing in mind, the free starter deck cards we've seen reprints of, they are designated super rares. There are only 2 of them in each starter deck. They are extremely playable. The purple decks we saw at the weekend, these Treasure Cups, they have this Kaido in. So having reprints is actually a very, very good thing, because it makes these cards more available. And yes, I know the pull rates are going to be very, very low. It's still another way to get hold of them. And some people are going to love the artwork a lot more anyway. As for this Kaido, what we've got is 9 cost 10,000 power. That is very big and beefy. And it's got Don -5. You've got to shuffle 5 Don back into your deck. But you KO a 6 cost or less character, which is really good. And you gain Rush for the turn. And obviously gaining Rush for the turn is pretty gosh darn good as well. And this is just a great character. Not as good as a 10 cost, but getting rid of a 6,000 character and then getting Rush and having a 10,000 power character out, this is a phenomenal card. And all 4 of these are phenomenal cards. All 4 of these are cards that see a huge amount of play. And I know that Don Quixote do Flamingo is getting beaten out by other cards as we get a bigger card pool. That's fine. I don't really care. All of these are very good playable cards. 3 of them are from starter decks. They're all super rares. And the artwork here is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And here's the thing, right? Some of you are going to look at this and go, oh my goodness, these are the coolest cards I've ever seen. I want these in my deck. And others of you are going to look at this and go, yeah, I'm not really digging the wanted poster thing. I can do without them. And both of those opinions are perfectly valid. Some of you are going to love these. That's awesome. Some of you are not going to love these. That's just as awesome. There is no judgment here, ladies and gentlemen. This is just extremely cool, and I'm a huge fan of it. So yeah, these are awesome. And then, of course, we have to ask the question of, well, hang on a second. Are these going to stick around for future sets? And the answer is we don't know. We have absolutely no idea if these are going to be sticking around for future sets. It's something that remains to be seen. I hope they do, personally, because I would love a wanted poster of Nami and Smoker and a lot of the other cool characters we've seen. But whether we do have them sticking around or not, that's not really the point. We've got them now, and this is awesome. And frankly, right, We've got wanted poster rares for the first time ever, a brand new type of secret rare, and we got a new manga rare. This seems like the kind of thing we should be celebrating. And now we are. And now I'm happy. But now I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me how excited you are. Tell me how much you love or otherwise the wanted posters. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat with us, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.